It's not my music. I don't come from the ghetto. It doesn't speak my language. And I said in print many times, hip hop does not belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Now, Gene Simmons has spoken out publicly against hip hop in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a few times before now. I specifically remember us covering him previously when he had said his feelings on hip hop being in the Hall of Fame. And strangely enough, I actually agree with Gene Simmons. Basically, Gene Simmons, for those unaware, spoke out against. Gene Simmons was on a podcast where he talked about his stance that hip hop doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He just basically said it's not his music. He doesn't come from the ghetto. It doesn't speak his language. And as he said many times, hip-hop does not belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he feels the same way about opera or symphony orchestras to kind of kill the racist angle, I guess. Yeah. And he also mentioned that the fact that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when they can sell out stadiums, and Grandmaster Flash and Ice Cube said is a bright guy, and I respect what he's done, but he shot back that it's the spirit of rock and roll, and he said, I just want to know when Led Zeppelin is going to be in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. And we'll admit it, Led Zeppelin, as long as we get an official Hip Hop Hall of Fame. The reason they're shoving rappers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is because we don't have one.
Gene Simmons says that hip hop has no place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because it's not his music and he doesn't come from the ghetto. But the funny thing is, the genre he's taking credit for was started by us. I don't really care about the opinion of Gene Simmons because he knows less than anybody who watched this video all the way through.
We don't have an official Hip Hop Hall of Fame.
No, but also how rock and roll was created.
Black people. I don't think his issue is the origins.
I don't think that was a secret though.
And then, yeah, exactly. Outside of that, you have Run DMC. They did collab with rock and roll. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why you won't see nobody in rock and roll in hip hop Hall of Fame, because one, like I said, we don't have one. Two, how many rock and roll groups collab with hip hop artists?
Yeah. Well, it's Linkin Park, and
then he said, if I'm not mistaken, ghetto
is from the Jewish community.
One, and is in some countries the ghetto is actually the suburbs. The suburbs is considered the ghetto.
Yes.
Like I think over there in Spain, Europe, the ghetto is usually deemed as the suburbs, and the suburbs is as the ghetto.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a Jewish slang, which he is Jewish.
Yeah.
Which he has some familiarity with the ghetto.
He should. Now, from my understanding, Gene Simmons is the son of concentration camp of Holocaust survivors.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the son of Jewish refugees from Hungary, and they survived the Nazi concentration camps. And
they were at some point were in the ghetto.
And his family was dirt poor, scraping by on bread and milk. And at the age of 7, he picked wild fruit to sell on roadsides with his friend.
Isn't that the ghetto?
Ghetto.
That's the ghetto. He's about the ghetto. I can't align myself with that.
You put two and two together.
You just telling me you're just somebody that been in the ghetto. But continue, man. God damn.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give people an idea.
Like, you stepped on your whole argument.
Yeah.
You literally did. You was cool until you start describing your livelihood, which you just said in the beginning. I'm not from the ghetto. I don't know nothing about the ghetto. But then turn around near the end of your sentence. Oh yeah, my family was dirt poor. He was in the ghetto.
Yeah, he was raised in the hood. Well, then he moved to Queens at 8 years old after his parents divorced. I don't know what type of life he lived in.
And you wasn't
Queens.
in a 2-parent home.
Yeah.
Which that's a no-no in the Jewish.
A single mother home in the Queens.
Man, come on, bro.
Yeah, you can definitely relate to hip hop based on your background.
You can relate all the way. You just mad at the fact that we can cross over. But again, we can't cross over something that we created.
Rock and roll was only like 20 years. And then disco and all that other shit came out and took over in the 70s. So hip hop is just bested rock and roll pretty much influentially, statistically. Every category you can measure music by, hip hop has exceeded rock and roll. So I think hip hop is definitely deserving of its own Hall of Fame.
So I just heard Gene Simmons, the guy from Kiss, say some pretty interesting things about hip-hop. Now when you combine ghetto and hip-hop, it's going to rub people the wrong way because we know hip-hop was made by black people and we predominantly are the ones who participate in hip-hop. So the fact that you would say, I don't come from the ghetto, it's not my genre, I don't understand it, has an undertone of racism. Now while he did say orchestra and other genres don't belong, make sure you keep that same energy all around the board. Maybe it should be changed to the Music Hall of Fame because you have different genres and different artists who are in the Hall of Fame. So don't just single out hip-hop artists because there's plenty of other genres and other artists from different genres that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But it seems like every so often this man decides to point out hip-hop. Maybe he just doesn't like hip-hop, and that's okay, you don't have to. But keep that same energy for every genre and everybody.
I think hip-hop is definitely deserving of its own Hall of Fame and not just some random basement in the Bronx. You know, we definitely deserve our own building.
Well, all you hip-hop legends, y'all need to form a committee, and you know, we need a hip-hop need their own Hall of Fame.
I agree.
And y'all need to y'all need to have the museum or the Hall of Fame at the birthplace of where hip-hop was created. Yeah, that part.
Yeah, so I'm not shocked at the comments just because, like I said, Gene Simmons has spoken on this numerous times before. Well, I have vehemently disagreed with him on not being able to relate to the ghetto. That's the part that threw me off.
Right.
But I guess that's what happens when you get money and fame. You just forget where you came from.
Where you came from.
Yes, sir.
So now Chuck D did fire back at Gene Simmons.
Well, number one, Gene Simmons seems to say this every 3 years anyway. And I guess when the latest group of hip-hop artists and rap music artists come in, you know, he's going to issue his point. I mean, he's a rock god, you know. But what he fails to realize is that it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And everything else other than rock, when rock and roll splintered in the 60s, is the roll. And soul music, reggae, hip-hop, which is rap music, you know, because hip-hop is a culture. So it embodies, you know, sight, sound, story, and style. But music, the vocal on top of the music has already been determined. So that's the roll, that's the flow, that's the soul in it. Yeah, Kiss are rock gods, but they don't have a lot of roll to them.
And Chuck D also mentioned that term ghetto. He said the native with Jews, it was borrowed by African Americans and respectfully, in particular, and respectfully, not in a bad way.
Exactly. See, this is why people need to know history. They don't play it. They don't, you know, teach it in school. They teach you generic type, and the only way you will actually learn history if your people don't make sure you learn it, or if you take an elective in college. But a lot of y'all don't know y'all history. Y'all know these words have different meanings, but carry on, man.
Yeah, so Chuck also went on to say, ghetto is a Jewish term. How could you be when rock is black music? It's just a different black music than hip-hop, which is also black music. Rock and roll owes everything to black music, statement of fact, period. All the major forms of American music owe their roots to black music, he said. That was his statement.
This is Black History Month, right?
Yeah.
We still on Black History Month, right? Yeah. Let's America. This is an actual known fact. A lot of the things that you got, from GPS to telephones to video games,
Black folks. Yeah. In the end, despite me not liking Gene Simmons' comments, I do agree with him. So let's figure out a way to get that Hip Hop Hall of Fame, because I don't like the fact that we have all these rappers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think the music itself has done enough to inspire its own Hall of Fame. It's grossed enough money. It's proven its worth culturally. So yeah. I want to figure out a way.
I'm cool with Hall of Fame for hip hop, but also if you contribute into rock formation, any aspect, you should be allowed to be voted in.
Yeah, if you
contribute.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Run DMC, since they did a lot with rock too. further in.